Mhm. Right. So coming back to again, I would like to thank the servants of the Buddha and Madam Manori for giving me this opportunity to share the Dhamma with all of you. So the topic today is Satisampajanna through walking meditation. So the first part of the talk today, I would like to focus on the meanings of these words, and also to discuss the context in which these words are used in the Pali Canon. So it will enable us to have an idea about the meanings of these words. So Sati Sampajanya is this is two Pali words actually. Sati in the Sinhalese language is sihiya. In English, it's commonly translated as mindfulness uh, or awareness. Sampajanya is the second word, again a Pali word. In Sinhala is translated as nuwana. In English, it is clear comprehension. So we have Sati Sampajanya, mindfulness and clear comprehension. So the next word here is, of course, the walking meditation, the activity of walking meditation. So I would like to also define, like give a brief definition of what the word meditation means. Again, we can't stick to one definite definitions. There'll be so many definitions. If you try to look for the meaning of this word meditation, the meaning of the word. So simply put, meditation can be defined as an activity that is performed by an individual, where the individual is in a constant, for that period the activity is performed, the individual is in constant interaction, in regular interaction with a physical or a mental object. And this practice would result in development or cultivation of wholesome mental states, would help the person, the practitioner, develop a wholesome state of mind, and would also help to get rid of unwholesome tendencies or unwholesome states of mind. So that's a simple sort of definition of the word meditation. So there are so many meditation techniques that are described in the Pali Canon. Uh, so there is, if you would uh, sort of study the sort of topics, meditation objects available, 40 such meditation topics have been described. And this is called the Samasatalis Kamataha. These 40 plus another 4, which would be the 4 foundations of mindfulness. So altogether, we would come across in excess of 40 meditation objects. So just a breakdown of this 40, this would include the 10 kasinas. Kasinas is, of course, focusing on a visual object, a colorful visual disc. So your meditation object is a physical object, and you're using the eye as a means of focusing your mind. The object comes into contact through the eye door, through your vision, through seeing. And then you have the Dasa Subha, that's 20, Dasa Anusati. So, for example, I'm sure you're all aware of these meditation techniques. Death contemplation, which is Marana Anusati. Contemplation of the triple gem, the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, Buddha Anusati, Dhamma Anusati, Sangha Anusati. so on. The Dasa Anusati is another 10. So altogether we have 30. And then the 4 Brahma Viharas, Karuna, Metta, Mudita, Upekha, meditations. And then we have the 4 Arupa Bhavanas, focusing on the formless mental objects and the foul, meditating on the foul nature of food. So we have 40, and also the meditation on the elements, Dhatu Manasikara, the 4 great elements. So this is the Samasatalis Kamatahan. But in addition, so this is Samasatalis Kamatahan would take you to a state of calmness, samadhi, concentration, which also is very helpful in that you can suppress the hindrances or the unwholesome tendencies of the mind. But in the Satipatthanas, the 4 Satipatthanas, this is relevant to today's talk. Here, the Buddha is teaching us how to develop mindfulness. So, So mindfulness is the key quality that the Buddha is focusing on. The Buddha wants us to develop, which would enable us to not temporarily suppress the hindrances, but to gain the wisdom or prajna, or gain the ability to see through these hindrances, so that these hindrances will not affect the practitioner, not temporarily, but permanently, to sort of help the practitioner at the end. The end goal is to uproot delusion. So, development of mindfulness or cultivation of mindfulness is the crucial starting point. So, if you look at the Satipatthana Sutra, this is a very important sutra which appears in the Pali Canon, specifically in the Sutra Pitaka. So you know that the Pali Canon has 3 main books or 3 main baskets: the Sutra Pitaka, the Vinaya Pitaka, and Abhidhamma Pitaka. So the Satipatthana Sutra appears in several of these. In the Sutra Pitaka, there are 5 main books. So in these 5 main books, the Mahasatipatthana Sutra appears in the Digha Nikaya, the book of the long discourses. Not only that, it also appears in the Majjhima Nikaya, the book that contains the middle-length discourses. Then in the Sangyupta Nikaya, there is another chapter that is dedicated to the Satipatthana Sutra, which is called the Satipatthana Sangyupta. And I'm sure in many other places in the Pali Canon, there'll be, like, for example, the Kaya Gata Sati Sutra. There'll be sutras dedicated to the development of mindfulness. So that tells us how important this practice is. So if we were to sort of have an idea about the Satipatthana Sutra, I would like to talk about, in brief, the Satipatthana Sutra to prepare the foundation so that we understand how to perform the walking meditation and how one would achieve liberation, or walk down that path that would eventually lead us to our final goal of attaining Nibbana. So in the Satipatthana Sutra, so when you're doing the walking meditation or whatever meditation, one crucial, very important question is, because this is important to find out, it has a direct bearing on the outcome, what you're going to achieve. You must ask yourself the objective of your meditation. Why is it you're meditating? What is it that you want to gain from this meditation? Because there are so many objectives, so many benefits a person could derive from meditation, so many benefits from can be achieved, uh, can be experienced from developing a mind that is calm and that is able to see things clearly, judge situations clearly, from development of more patience. So many benefits in the worldly life. For example, if you're a sportsman involved in, strength, meditation is one technique that is going to help your performance. When it comes to, if you're an academic person studying, the meditation will improve your memory power. So there'll be the benefit of more success at your academic endeavors or challenges. If you're a patient, there are so many medical benefits that you can derive from meditation. So this is all good. This is all very important to, so that we have a satisfying worldly existence and happiness. We achieve happiness in this life. But is that the only goal? Is that why we are meditating? So you need to ask yourself, because how far you're going to tread down this path depends on what your objective is. All the objectives, that all the benefits that I talked about would appear, or would, you would experience these benefits due to the changes that occur very early on in your meditation life. So it's, that question is very important. So the Buddha gives the benefits. He explicitly, there is an explicit, sort of very direct, unambiguous description of the benefits that one would derive if one engage in the practice of the Satipatthana, or practicing the four foundations of mindfulness. So I'd like to read the Pali verse. So the Buddha says, as we all have heard this sentence, Ekayano ayam bhikkhave maggo, sattanang visuddhya, soka pariddavanang samatikkamaya, dukkha domanassanang attangamaya, nyayassa adhigamaya, nibbanassa satchakiriyaya, yadidang chattaro satipatthana. Ekayano ayam bhikkhave maggo. So this is the only path, or this is the direct path to achieve what? Sattanang visuddhya. Sattanang visuddhya is purification of the mind, getting rid of the five hindrances. That is not at a permanent level, not permanently, but early on in the practice at one point. This is going to be the first benefit that you achieve. You will be able to experience a state of mind in which the five hindrances or the unwholesome tendencies are suppressed, and you're free of these unwholesome tendencies. So what are these five unwholesome tendencies or five hindrances? Kama chanda is the first one, or sensual desire. Vyapada, translated as ill will. Tina midda, sloth and torpor, is the third one. Restlessness and anxiety. Uddacha kukkucha, doubt. That's the fifth hindrance, vichikiccha. So this benefit you can achieve. Second benefit, dukkha domanasanam, soka pariddavanam samatikkamaya, overcoming sorrow and lamentation, if you practice the Satipatthana. Third, dukkha domanasanam attangamaya, the extinction of physical pain, dukkha, mental pain, domanassa. You gain the ability to distance yourself from, you can't not feel physical pain. Physical pain will always be there as long as you're inhabiting this physical body, but you can distance yourself from it. There's the opportunity not to identify with this physical pain. That's the benefit offered. That's the benefit that is guaranteed by the Lord Buddha in this Satipatthana Sutra. And mental pain, not only physical pain, mental pain. What is the other benefit? Nyayasa adhigamaya. So you will have the knowledge of that, the knowledge that you've arrived onto a path, and that this path is going to take you to a destination. You do not have to see the be you don't have to arrive at the destination, but if you know that this path is leading to a destination, you know you're going to pursue this, and you know where you're going to end. If you're hiking up a mountain, you might see the mountain top, but you haven't reached it. But you know, if you continue on this hike or on this climb, you're definitely going to reach the mountain top. So that knowledge is something that you're going to gain, and that knowledge takes you, that is your path to freedom. That is going to take you out of this cycle of birth, aging, decaying, illness, death, this perpetual cycle of endless suffering. So for you to come out of that, this knowledge is very important. Beyond that point, it is not essential that you have a teacher, because you know for yourself, you become your teacher. Lastly, to attain Nibbana, the final goal of a person who is practicing. So we have to ask ourselves whether we have these goals in our mind. So this is the first segment. This is how the Buddha starts the sutra, by talking about the benefits. It's a sort of a guarantee. You're guaranteed of these benefits. Then moving on, the second paragraph, the Buddha gives a summary. The summary of, when you start practicing mindfulness, there is a point where you have to reach. And the Buddha talks about that point in the second paragraph. He tells you this is where you have to place your mind. This is where you have to come to. This is where you have to dwell to achieve these benefits. That's in the subsequent paragraph. And the Buddha explains, Kaye kayanupassi viharati atapi sampajano satima. So here comes the word which is the topic of today's talk, sampajano, satima, the two words. Vedanasu vedananupassi viharati atapi sampajano satima. Chitte chittanupassi viharati atapi sampajano satima. Dhammesu dhammanupassi viharati atapi sampajano satima. So our practice has to develop to a state where you are able to see, if we talk about the body or kaya anupassana, you are able to see the body as it is. Kaye kayanupassi viharati. And that is not for a few moments. You are going to dwell, seeing your body in this state. It's a very radical way of looking at things. And at this, when you start seeing your body as it is, not how you would like to see it, not how you would imagine it to be, as it is, you have in your mind developed atapi sampajano satima, these qualities. What is atapi? It's translated as ardent, or a sustained application of what? Sampajano, clear comprehension, satima, mindfulness. So when you have a sustained mindfulness and clear comprehension, you are going to see things differently. That is called vipassana. So to have a better understanding of this, we will have to delve into the kaya anupassana, because it is related, it is relevant to the walking meditation. So when you move from this paragraph, when you move forward in the Satipatthana Sutra, you come across the meditation objects that the Buddha has prescribed in the Kaya Anupassana. So the first meditation object is the breathing. Anapanasati pabbaya. So the Buddha talks about the breathing. Second meditation object is the postures, the 4 postures. Third meditation object in the Kaya Anupassana is clear comprehension, the Sampajanna pabbaya. The postures is Iriyapata pabbaya in Pali. So after the Sampajanna pabbaya, the third segment, the fourth is meditating on the 32 parts of the body. Sorry. This is Patikula Manasikara. And then the fifth segment is meditating on the great elements. The water element, fire element, earth element, and the air element. And then there are 9 other meditation objects grouped together under the 9 charnel ground meditation objects. So if we study the in short, in summary, I would like to take you through the breathing, the steps in the breathing meditation, where the Buddha initially gives an instruction of, tells you to go to a suitable place to meditate, a quiet, suitable, conducive place where you're not getting disturbed. Aranya Gatova, a monastery. Shunya Gatova, an empty room, empty space. Rukha Mula Gatova, the root of a tree. And tells you to sit upright, cross-legged, focus your mind or focus your mindfulness on your breathing process. So, asasati, so passasati. So, you're breathing mindfully. And then we have another word that is very important. It's mentioned so many times. Assa santo digang assa samiti pajana. So the meditation object here is the breath. And when you take in the breath, assa santo, digam assa samiti pajanati. The one who takes a long in-breath knows that he is taking a long in-breath. And this goes on for the out-breath, short in-breath, short out-breath. This word pajanati. So pajanati is knowing the object. So if the experience of breathing, if you focus on to a point on the in-breath, where in-breath is happening, you know it's happening because there is the airflow that you might feel at the nostril. Or here in this case, it's felt as a long process, long movement. And when that happens, knowing of this process happens simultaneously. So it's important to understand there are 2 parts of this experience. One part is a very physical length of the breath or a quality of the airflow, maybe a rubbing sensation, maybe a vibration, or maybe the temperature as a warm stream of air entering your nostril or a cold stream of air. So the first part, we could look at 2 sides of this experience. First part is a physical. Second part is the knowing, the part of pajanati. Now it is able to know, knowing can happen on physical objects, non-physical objects. So occurrence of knowledge is pajanati. So if you have a stick with 2 ends, one end would be the meditation object, the physical part of the meditation object. The other end, same stick, other end would be the knowing of that. That happens, it's an obligatory thing. We don't have to do anything for this to happen. But you need to be aware of this process when so many things are, happening. When your mind is taking you from object to object, not letting you experience this phenomena, it's difficult to appreciate this very simple, very natural occurrence. But if you go to a place, a silent place, a conducive environment, and you have this sort of attitude of, consistently, even though it is not bringing you any benefit initially, you keep at it. You're relentless. You're not giving up. You will come to a point where the mind is very clearly seeing this phenomena and knowing the phenomena, pajanati. So that word is very important. So what happens after this? Pajanati moves on to passambayang kaya sankarang asasisamiti sikkati. Passambayang kaya sankarang. So sikkati words come into the front stage. Pajanati moves on. So when this happens, that's the time where you have to stay put. Your body and speech is disciplined, it is tamed, but it is important to tame your mind. Once you come to the state of clearly knowing the phenomena, don't try to imagine things. Discipline your mind. Sikkati is that. Sit back. Sit back. Just relax further, a bit more. Don't be inquisitive. So if you do that, you're taken into the common path of all these meditation starting points that we mentioned: the breathing, the postures, clear comprehension, 32 parts, the elements, the charnel ground. This is the starting point. And you pass through pajanati, sikkati. You're brought to a common path in the Kayanupassana. So what does that common path, what is explained in the sutra? Iti ajjattang va kaye kayanupassi viharati. Bahidda va kaye kayanupassi viharati. Ajjatta bahidda va kaye kayanupassi viharati. So here, the words pajanati is dropped. Sikkati is again into the backstage. Now comes the result of what you have already done. You are given the opportunity to see things differently. Ajjattangva kaye kayanupassi viharati. So you're seeing, you started with your breath. Digangva, long breath. Rasangva, short breath. So the breath, the object is changing. It is transforming. And now you have come to a place where ajjattangva kaye kayanupassi viharati, bahiddava kaye kayanupassi viharati. You are not talking about the breath now. You can't distinguish a breath. The form of the breath has changed. It has become more subtle. It doesn't require at this stage, it requires a very passive nature in observation. It requires you to see, passati, vipassana, anupassati. You're seeing things differently. Kaye kayanupassi. It's like your body has your body. You fix two eyes into your body. Now, not the eyes that you have. Your body is able to see. Your entire body can sense, and you're not interfering with that sense. So when that happens, it's an experience that the more developed your mindfulness gets, it's an experience that you're going to come across. There is no doubt about it. It is a law of the Dhamma that this is going to happen. So when that happens, your body is no longer seen the way you see your body, with a form, with an ownership, with a depth dimension. It is, and parts, my head, my arm, my leg, my toes. So all of these experiences just fade away. They disappear, and what you're left with is Ajjata Bahidda. And the more you practice, you're further taken to Samudaya Dhammanupassiva Kaye Kayasmin Viharati. Kayanu Neme. Dhamma, it's Dhammanupassi. Now you have the bare phenomena that arises, Samudaya, and then passes away via. So if you can not interfere with this experience, this will not, it will remain at this state. It will remain at a state of rising and passing of a phenomena that cannot be defined. You cannot even call it your body. So here is where your view starts to change. If you have a view that this phenomena is occurring from my body, this is my body, this is for me, this is going to be the, I want to keep this body, I want to, there is so much benefit of having this body, I can enjoy sensual pleasures with this body. If you have that view, this Dhamma, this phenomena is going to move up, get promoted to from Dhammanupassi to Kayanupassi, from Kayanupassi to Rasangva. It comes in my breath. From Rasangva to Digangva. From Digangva to going to a salon or massage parlor to treat, to pamper your body, to make it look beautiful. It's all, I'm not criticizing your beautification of the body. You have to be healthy. You have to look nice and be healthy. But in the end, it is going to turn back. Your body is going to be one of your biggest enemies, nobody else. It's going to betray you. It's going to cause you immense suffering. So if you know that, it is important that you follow these instructions, and it's important that you experience this. When you experience this, what you get, you lose the depth perception, demarcations of your body, you lose all of that, but what you will also, it will be very obvious what you gain. What you gain is a tension-free state, a frustration-free state of mind, a very open state of mind, a very flexible state of mind, a very lasting sort of a happiness. But you have to keep on practicing for you to really believe this. What happens is, it even though this option, you're given this alternate way of looking at your body, we, because of the greed we have, the tanha, we would still like to uh, choose the body that we've known all our lives. We want to inhabit that body rather than see the body as kaye kayanupassi viharati atapi sampajano satima. So when we move to the postures, I'll just briefly, very quickly talk about the postures. Gacchanto va gacchamiti pajanati. So when one is going, that person knows that he is going. Pajanati. You can see the awareness or the knowing word is here. Pajanati. And then titova titom hiti pajanati. That is standing. Nisinnova nisinnom hiti pajanati. Seated. When one is seated, one is aware that one is seated. Sayanova sayanom hiti pajanati. When one is lying down, one is aware that one is lying down. When that knowledge happens, if your mind can stay there without coming back to your mundane way of looking at things, if you can be mindful at the point of pajanati, where are you taken? You are taken to the common pathway. Iti ajjatang va kaya kayanupassi. Samudaya Dhammanupassi. You are taken down this path. You're taken down this path to freedom, to a different way of looking at things, a better way of looking at things, a more detached way of looking at things. So this is the posture. So here the posture, the walking comes up, and this is again relevant to the walking meditation. Now we come to the Sampajanna Pabbaya. Bhikkhu abhikkhante patikkante sampajanakari hoti. When one is going forward and back, one does it with full awareness. That is how this is translated. Abhikkhante patikkante sampajanakari hoti. Alokite vilokite. Looking forward, looking around, one does so with full awareness. Sampajanakari hoti. Samminjite pasarite. Bending and stretching or folding and extending your limb, one does so with full awareness. Sampajanakari hoti. Sangaha Sanghati patta chivara dharane. When bearing one's double robe or the bowl or the additional robe, one does so with full awareness. Sampajanakari hoti. Asite pite kaite saite sampajanakari hoti. When eating, drinking, chewing, tasting, you do it with full awareness. Uchchara passa vakamme sampajanakari hoti. So the Buddha hasn't spared any physical activity. That's the number one and the number two job. When passing stools and passing urine, he does so with full awareness. Gate, tite, nisinne, sutte, jagarite, basite, tunni bhave, sampajanakari hoti. Going, standing, sitting, sleeping, waking, talking, when you're in silence, he does so with full awareness. So here it is not pajanati, it is sampajanakari hoti. There is a difference. Sampajanakari hoti. If you do this, if you're aware, so the Buddha doesn't spare us. It is demoralizing in a way because you have to be mindful. Whatever activity you're engaging in, you have the opportunity to be mindful. So we can't complain that we don't have time to be mindful. You can use mindfulness or sampajanya or clear comprehension in these instances. So I'm just an opinion, a personal opinion. The first two instances, the physical activity was very predictable, long lasting, predictable activity or seated breathing. There is the opportunity to know fully, knowing, to appreciate the knowing phenomenon. Even in the postures, it is quite uniform. The activity is uniform and simple. So there is the opportunity to know. But here, this is your day-to-day functioning. And the time you spend in each posture is very less. It's much more dynamic. So here the Buddha chooses this word, sampajanakaryoti. But it is not knowing, it's not translated as knowing, but it is being aware. You're aware of the situation. That is sampajanakaryoti. If you do that, you're brought to the common path. Iti ajjatang va kaye kayan passi, bahiddha va kaye kayan passi, samude dhammanu passi viharati, and then you are brought to the initial. The Buddha tells us where to place our mind. That is the objective. Kaye kayanupassi viharati atapi sampajano satima. So it is difficult to understand these words, but if you practice meditation, when the meditation object that you begin with, the gross object, when that object transforms or changes or evolves with the continuation of your practice, when that object becomes subtler and subtler, when it comes to a state where it loses its initial characteristics that defined it, when you lose that, and when you come to a state where you can only where you only see phenomena or where you only see the body as the body, it is an unmistakable experience. It is not something that we have to rationalize, something that we have to prove to ourselves. When it happens, I am seeing my body differently. It is different. It is more freeing, more liberating. So when you're there, if you know you're there, if you know you've passed these mileposts along the way, if you know you're in kaye kayanupassi viharati, then you know you are having in your mind atapi sampajano satima. So the word satima is also the mindfulness also is transformed. So when you look at the sampajana up there, you know you started with sampajanakari hoti, you're ending up with atapi sampajano satima. So there is a change in the object and there is a change in this wholesome mental factor, which is the mindfulness. It also changes. It becomes more powerful, more, it is more strengthened. It is able to see more subtle phenomena. It is able to show you, take you to the truth, take you away from your wrong view and take you towards Samma Ditti. It is able to, give a blow to your Sakkaya Ditti. That drushti is what transforms the phenomena, their phenomena, into something that we experience now, something that is prone to attachment, prone to suffering. So I would like to just quote two sutras here briefly, where the Buddha talks about the walking meditation. Chankama Sutra in the Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha gives benefits of the walking meditation. Panchime bhikkhave chankame anisansa, katame pancha, addana kammo hoti, can walk long distances. Padana kammo hoti, can put forth strenuous effort. Appabado hoti, few ailments, you become a more healthy person. Asitang, pitang, kaitang, saitang, samma parinamang gacchati. I have to apologize for my pronunciation. I'm sure I'm making mistakes when it comes to pronouncing proper pronunciation of the Pali words. Whatever he eats, drinks, chews, or tastes is well digested. That's another advantage. Chankamadigato samadhi chirattitiko hoti. Concentration attained in the walking path is it lasts long. Now we don't give this prominence to the walking meditation. But I'll quote another sutra to give you an idea about the prominence the Buddha has given. There is a sutra in the Majjhima Nikaya, Danta Bhumi Sutra. I think in the third book of the Majjhima Nikaya, where the Buddha says, Buddha gives an instruction to the monk on how to, your daily schedule. This is how your schedule is going to be. This is the daily routine of the practitioner. Come, monks, dwell devoted to the practice of wakefulness during the daytime. Cleanse the mind of hindrances, pacing up and down and sitting upright. So this is during the daytime. So you're alternating walking meditation with sitting meditation. Ratya patamang yamang. In the first watch of night, cleanse the mind of hindrances by pacing up and down, sitting. Again, pacing up and down. The first part of the night. Ratya majjimang yamang. In the middle watch of night, go to sleep in the lion's posture, reclining to the right side, placing one foot on the other, mindful and aware. Pade padang achadaya sato sampajano uttana sanyang manasik karitva. Paying attention to the idea of waking up. Uttana sanya. Again, sato sampajano. So sleeping also can be performed with mindfulness and clear comprehension. So this is actually, I told you, this is demoralizing because even your sleep is an opportunity for you to be mindful. Ratya Pachima Yamam. In the last watch of night, having got up, cleanse the mind of hindrances, pacing up and down and sitting. So this is the schedule. You can see what importance the Buddha has given to the practice of the walking meditation. So in few minutes, I would like to take you through the experience of walking meditation, how this would happen. So if you wanted to start your walking meditation, you would find a walking track, maybe about 30 feet long. In monasteries, these are very, they are available, and certain meditation centers. And you would stand at the starting point, collect your mind, become aware of the present moment, and then you stride. You start your walk. And when you're doing so, you have to keep your arms clenched with each other in front or back. You're gazing, your eyes are open. In this meditation, eyes have to be open. And you're gazing downwards to a point on the walking track, which is the distance which is equivalent to your height. If you're 6 feet, you're gazing at about 5 foot, you're gazing at a point 5 foot in front of you in the walking path, so that you don't stumble or twist or trip and fall. You see where you're going. So you're gacchantova gachamiti pajana. You're aware of your walking. So as you move, walk, or stride, you are going to focus on the meditation, the proper meditation object. And that is the, the right foot or the left foot. When the foot comes into contact with the sand, if it's outdoor walking track, or the mat, if it's an indoor walking track, that moment, being aware of that sensation, that contact is your meditation object. So when you're keeping your left foot down, you're going to note that this is left. Mental noting is followed by this experience. Noting does not precede the experience. So you see the foot, the experience of your foot touching the ground, and you note it. You note it so that your mind stays glued to this experience, so you're able to see the entire experience. And then the right foot kept on the walking path, you're aware of that and you note it. And you see what the experience is. So if your mind wanders out, you note what distracted you. If it's a sound, you note sound and you bring your mind back to the meditation object. So at one point, you're going to realize that you have reached a pace, a very steady rhythmic pace where your body is in a rhythm. It is moving without much effort. Walking is happening. This is the time to drop the noting. You have to learn in the practice when to drop the noting. Noting at initially is helpful to bring your mind to the object, but later on it disturbs what you are seeing. It disturbs the experience. Yeah, you are in the body. You have to again go to the mind to note. So now you drop the noting and you are now fully with this experience. So now what happens? Just like the breathing meditation, this distinction between left, right becomes a blur. What you end up with is you might experience not the body, but only this foot hitting the ground, the experience. One foot, then the other foot. There is no left, right also. So you're experiencing this contact, and then there is no contact, then there is contact. Your depth perception of I am looking at my feet, I am feeling my feet, which are this number of, this distance away from me, that also disappears. So here you clearly knowing, you can see bhajana, you can see the knowing of this experience clearly in the middle of it, like sitting in the middle of an audience. Somebody in the middle of an audience gets all the attention. So this experience comes to the middle of your mind, of your awareness. So this is pajanati. But then what happens now? Are you going to go back to the same left, right, noting the same experience? You must let what is appearing in front of you, you must let that unfold. So for that, Sikhati, even though it's not mentioned in a sutra, you must switch back. Your inquisitive mind has to now keep it at bay, calm it down, discipline the mind. Let see what is available around you, and you will find this walking meditation is taking you to the common path. Iti ajjattangva kaya kayanupassi bahiddhava, what we have mentioned, the common path. And then you have the quality of atapi sampajano sati. Then you are doing vipassana. Then that this is the path to break this wrong view, this view that is building up on this foundation, creating a reality on this foundation of kaya anupassi, seeing the body. So if you progress, eventually you're going to reach a point where the three signatas, anicca, dukkha, anatma, will be apparent. You will come to a point that is definitely going to happen. So where are we going to end this meditation? How long are you going to do this? I would like to, so in the Satipatthana, when the four foundation of mindfulness, the last foundation is Dhammanupassana. Being aware of mental phenomena, the Dhammas, the rudimentary, the basic building blocks of an experience, the phenomena. So once at this point, you have surpassed the hindrances. You can't have kaya kayanupassi if there are hindrances, if there is a doubt in your mind. So this meditation has taken you you have surpassed the hindrances. That's why you can see at the point of sikkati, and as you progress, the hindrances will disappear. Otherwise, you cannot have kaya kayanupassi. Dhamme dhammanupassi cannot happen. So here, there is a segment. There are again few segments in the Dhammanupassana, and this is the enlightenment factors. I will read this statement and conclude the talk. Ida bhikkhave bhikkhu santang va ajjattang sati sambojjanga attame ajjattang sati sambojjango ti pajanati. So the practitioner knows that there is an enlightenment factor. The mindfulness has now developed to a level where the mindfulness is showing the gate or the path to freedom, the bodhi. That's why it's called enlightenment factor. The first one, asantang va ajjantang sati sambojjangang natti me ajjattang sati sambojjanga jangoti pajanati. So the practitioner knows, now I have the enlightenment factor of mindfulness. Now I don't have it in my mind. I have lost it. It is also a phenomena that is anatta. He realizes that. If it was going to stick with that person, it would lead him to grab onto that. But now the sati sambojjanga is showing him that this is also going to disappear. Yatava anupassa sati sambojjangassa uppado hoti tancha pajanati yatava uppannassa sati sambojjangassa bhavanaya paripuri hoti tancha pajanati. So I can't describe all the meanings here, but just remember this word. Bhavanaya paripuri hoti tancha pajanati. You complete your meditation. So now you know there is a starting point, you have the benefits, there is a path you are going to tread, there are milestones, changes are going to occur, sacrifices have to be made, and there is an end point where you're shown the light. And that is completion of your kaya anupassana or completion of the mindfulness. And that can be achieved through the walking meditation, through the sitting meditation, through the postures. All these meditations are complementary in the kaya anupassana. So with that, I would like to conclude this talk. I apologize if I've taken too much time here. Thank you.
Thank you very much for a very, very useful talk. You certainly didn't take too much time. That is, it was very useful. And even if it seems a lot, it will be on the YouTube for everybody to listen and re-listen. I want to emphasize on that because this is so useful. Any questions, please, from anybody on this, please? You can unmute yourselves now and or raise your hand. Or,
I have a question, please, Dr. Senaka.
Yes, please go ahead.
I just want to ask Dr. Randula what kasina, how you can explain a bit more about kasina.
So I haven't practiced Kasina meditation, but
Yeah.
I know that you have to have a Kasina mandala. Kasina mandala is like, like a disc. You can color the disc with various colors. And then you focus your gaze onto that and you have a visual object and your mind will, the objective is to bring the mind to the visual object, to the color. And then the mind will wander off, bring it to the color. So with this meditation, you can, I think, overcome the hindrances, and it's something that started. The meditation object is a visual object, but I'm not a practitioner of the Kasina Bhavanas.
Yeah, I have heard so much, but I was wanting a bit of more explanation on that word kasina. That's what I was thinking,
The
Doctor.
word, no, I'm sorry, I don't know
That's
how.
okay then. That's okay. Thank you. It was a lovely speech. Anyway, I very enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you very much, Doctor.
I have a question.
Yes, Sugat, yes, go ahead, please.
Yes, in the Satipatthana Sutra, it says, Sabbakaya Patisangvedi Asasisami Sikkati, Sabbakaya Patisangvedi Pasasisami Sikkati. Now here, what does it mean? Because in most retreats, they say that it is the whole breath in, beginning, middle and end, whole breath out, beginning, middle and end. Is that the right, correct explanation for Sabbakaya Patisangvedi?
I think this it is a matter open for discussion. Now, if you look at the sutra, the Buddha starts with Digangva, long breath. Now comes to the
sorry, I'm sorry. But that is in the case of Digangva Asasanto or Rasangva Asasanto Pasasanto, it is Pajanati. Pajanati means a convention. To know that it's a convention that is appointed by the people. This is long, this is short. So it's a convention. But the Sikkati means training. Sabbakaya Patisangvedi Asa Sissami Sikkati. Sabbakaya Patisangvedi Passa Sissami Sikkati.
Okay, so from Digangva to Rasangva, the breath in convention has become shorter. In convention. At Sikkati, still you're in the convention.
But Sikkati means training, because in the Pali, it says that Sikkati, you train yourself to experience yourself.
I know. That's the thing. So, like for me, when I see long breath, short breath, I can't see how you could go to again middle, because the middle, beginning, middle, and the end, you can't see in the breath.
That's correct. I agree.
You have to move on to Samudaya Dhammanupassi. The Buddha talks about a beginning only at the end, when the breath transforms into body, kaya. Kaya transform into a Dhamma, a phenomena. That's the only place you can see the Samudaya. If you're seeing the Samudaya anywhere else in the path before that, it is not the true Samudaya. So I would say maybe it's the breath middle and maybe it's so, but that is not the Samudaya. Our interest is
I agree with you, because in the
Samudaya Vaya.
Sikkati, it means
I agree. Sikkati is disciplining your mind. So that is required for you to see vipassana. Kaya Kayanupassi cannot happen if your mind is interfering, if your mind is entertaining doubt, if your mind is entertaining lust, if your calming body is now giving nice sensations, it can turn into lust. So, but you have to do, your mind has to settle down. When that happens only, when there are no hindrances or hindrances are influencing you minimally, only will you see. Only when you start seeing the body, can you see the beginning of how the body starts. Forget the breath. It's not the matter here is not the breath, it's the body. Kaye khayanupasi. Even the body, the Buddha says you can't see a beginning. The body you
Yeah,
can only you know kaye ajjattangva kaye khayanupasi viharati. Only inside and outside. Bahiddava kaye khayanupasi. You can't see a beginning. Beyond that, you go to samudaya dhammanupassiva kayasmin viharati. A phenomena that arises in relation to the body, in association with the body.
don't we have to combine step? But firstly, the convention of this is long breath, this is short breath. You observe it's an accepted practice universally, long and short. Then
That
you
is
come
that.
to the actual training. Because sikkati means training.
Beyond
Training.
Sikkati. Go
Sikka
beyond
eka sanya
Sikkati.
uppajjanti, sikka eka sanya niruddhanti.
Don't hold on to Sikkati. Go beyond that. Now there is
No,
few
no,
more
no. Because
sentences.
Sikha means training, as I understand.
Training for
Sikkati
what?
is when you see the whole
True.
body is not one,
True. True.
but
I
trillions
agree.
of particles which
We
are
are in
rising
agreement.
and ceasing.
We are in agreement.
Samudaya wire.
We are
That's
in
what I
agreement.
experienced.
I think we are in agreement. We are in agreement.
There are some other questions, if I may interrupt.
Thank you.
I think a very important question from Samantha Jayatilaka is about the gap. If you can notice the gap between the in-breath and the out-breath is what she's asking. And she likes to know more about what is the significance of this gap. And did Buddha emphasize this gap? Because we hear how important that gap is sometimes. I agree with Samantha. Yes. So
the gap is when the breath is not perceivable, there is a gap. So you're going to initially see a non-perceivable, something that cannot be perceived. When you are following the in-breath and the out-breath, you will see bits and pieces between the in and out, between the out and in between the in-breath also, in between the out-breath also, these gaps will start to appear. So that's, I think, very important in the transform. That's how the breath loses its integrity. So I would not, again, I would not disagree about the significance of that, but these are all phenomena that you experience when you're moving down the path. So it is gap. You will see the gap, but you are not going to see the gap every day. You're going to start from the gap. The more you practice, the moment you close your eyes, you're going to, there is no gap, no breath, nothing. There is only ajjattanga kaya kanupassi. So it depends on, I mean, as your practice matures, the significance of these things will change. These are not eternal. Okay, I need to see the gap. If you don't see the gap, that's fine, as long as you know that your mind is settling, passambayang kaya sankarang, because you've gone through these millions of times now in the practice. You know that, okay, I don't have to see the breath even. I can start, because when mindfulness takes over your mind, you know it's taken over because the outside world appears differently. That's the clue. There is no me, there is no mamaya at ajjattangva kaya kanupassi viharati. Bahiddava kaya kanupassi. There is no mamaya, there is no me there. If there is a me, there has to be a nice in-breath, a nice out-breath, a nice upper limb, lower limb, my mouth, face, all of that has to be there. So the question the earlier gentleman raised, Sikkati is a very important milestone. Very important milestone. I'm in complete agreement on that. Whether you have the full breath, sabbakaya patisangvedi, whether it's the full breath or not, that's, I mean, this is an experience. I'm just trying to, sort of explain through the sutra, but whatever it is, from an experiential point of view, you are going to go down a path. And then that path is going to, so progress, you're going to improve. And in that path, Sikkati is important. It's a disciplining of the mind. But Your discipline has to take you somewhere. If you're going to be sikkati and then again start going and appreciating the long breath, short breath, you're going in a cycle. So when you settle your mind, you have to look what is available now. That is ajatanga kaya kayanupassi viharati. There it is not, you can't mistake that experience. That is what I'm saying. It's an experience. It is different. You don't see depth. Your feet on the walking promenade is not 5 foot away from you. It is something that can be seen. Where? In the center of your awareness. So where is the depth? And then we define it as Ajyatta Bahidha. So it's a bit away, it's inside, it's outside. Even that is lost. Ajyatta Bahidha is lost. There is no Ajyatta Bahidha as you go along. It's only arising and samudaya. So you have to progress. Progressing means you have to let go of things. That's part of the game. You have to let go. That is a sacrifice. You have to let go of your conventions, your views, your view of this body. You have to let go. This is going to disturb. This is going to bother. This is going to block your uh, path, your view. So with the transformation of the object, your view is going to change. You're going to have a body, but your ownership is going to be less. The mindfulness is going to change. And from a personal point of view, I'm also still practicing. I cannot talk about Nibbana. I cannot talk about path to so on. I cannot, because I'm still practicing. But I can talk about the experience, and I feel I can relate it to the sutra, to what I'm feeling.
Can I ask a question, Randula? Now
Yes,
you, in all four of the introductory lines on the four techniques, the four foundations or the four bases of mindfulness, Atapi Sampajano Satima, just the last bit, what is your Vinaya Loke Abhinyan Domanasana? Those three words, Vinaya Loke Abhinyan Domanasana. How do you say?
Yes.
The line ends with that.
Yeah, Vinaya Loke Abhijja Domanassana. Chitte Chittanupasya. So Abhijja is greed, I think, very severe greed. Abhijja Domanassa. Aversion is Domanassa. So there is no, I think, I'm not sure about that, but the meaning that I understood from this Satima Vinaya Loke Abhijja Domanassa. That means that person who's dwelling in Samudaya Vaya state has no aversion, no resistance, and no clinging to anything in the world.
Yeah, Abhijja is clinging to other people's things and, greed. It's of an extreme nature.
Yeah.
But ends up it's in Domanasana. So it's again having, you are seeing
it is a aversion or repulsiveness or a sort of a negative, like a friction, like something like vyapada. I think that's the sort of the meaning I have. Like the two extremes, either you're too attached to something or you're too against something. So this is the against, your mind is again pushing. Abhijja is the mind is grabbing. It can't do any of these because it is the phenomena. It is removed itself from the phenomena also. Samudaya Vaya. The mind.
Vinaya is, I wonder what Vinaya is.
Vinaya
I can
Loke.
understand.
Vinaya Loke. I'm also not sure, madam, about that.
Vinaya meanings that Loka is the six agencies. The Chasu Loko Samuppanno Chasu Kubbadi Santava. Of the six agencies of eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind, the Loka is formed. Buddha says so in to the Sarthagiri's question. So Vinaya Loka is completely getting rid of that from your six agency, which is your yourself. You are gradually getting out of it. Yourself is getting rid of those things. Abhijja and Domanas.
Abhijja. Right. Thank you. Thank you for that. Any other questions? Because it's now time to wind